Hello, this is a little introduction to the ordinary graphite pencil. Just before I start, I'm just going to show you this little bit of information. See if we can do a close-up of this. This is some facts about graphite pencil. The word pencil itself comes from the Latin word pensillus, meaning little tail. You might have heard of some of these manufacturers. I think there's far more than 13, but there's just a few that you might have seen on the shops and some that you might not. Got a few pencils here ready in the box. The grades of pencil span over 20. They actually start with one that's missing in the box there. That's a 9H. And the grades will go down so we can see the 8H, the 7, the 6, there's a missing one there. So, and then it goes right down to the middle grades, which is H and HB. There's a nice one here called an F grade. And then it moves to the B for black, H for hard, and B for black. There's a few more gaps here, but you can see they go right up to a 9B. Now, the ordinary graphite pencil is made from something called graphite. When it was first found in Borrowdale in about 1500, they didn't really know what it was, so it's had various names. We tend to call pencils lead pencils, and we still do today. It's because the first people who saw graphite actually thought it was lead. There's a little recipe here for graphite. You add a bit of clay, something to stick it all together, like an egg in a cake. And then if you have less clay, that makes the soft pencils. And the recipe for hard pencils would just have more clay in it. It's quite a nice little picture there showing some of the graphite pencils. So they whiz down here right through the grades and then back up to the top. So you can see there's quite a wide difference between a very hard one and a very soft one. I'm going to use this side of the paper. I'm going to pick a very soft pencil. So this is a 9B. And one of the ways that you can use a pencil is to use the side. So this is why they're all sharpened. That gives me a very, very nice flat edge. And if I just put that down quite simply like that, we get a tone of pencil. Extremely thin, very light. And one way of working with the pencils is to do kind of an overlay process. So if I put another piece of that graphite over the top, it lays over the top, and now the graphite tone is doubled. If I do that a third time, and I'm still using the same pressure, so this new piece that's now developed just here is darker than the first one. Now, I tend to do this technique of overlaying with things that I'm doing in the studio, some perhaps more detailed things, perhaps a little bit more realistic, because it does take some time. Now when I'm outside, I'll do a slightly different technique, which is, I tend to call it instant tone. So tone is just another word for shading. So if I put a very light tone down, you get that rather grey looking area. And if I target to put it down a bit stronger, you see how much difference it is, and then I can push the pencil, give it a bit of support with that finger, and you can push it a little bit harder to get the black coming out. To go a little bit blacker than that. So you've got 3 tones there. That's the one that I use when I'm outside. So I'm going to use this pencil just to show briefly how quickly. I'm going to zoom in on the paper just here. See if we're in focus. And I tend to do a little frame. So this is not a big picture. I'll put a little splodge of shape here. Leave a little gap, another bit there. putting a little bit on either side of the paper. Now I'm going to put a little bit of ground. So this is tree foliage. The trees will cast a shadow across the road, give the road a little shape and a few dots. I'm going to just turn it a little bit, and I'm going to use the side of the pencil just to produce some branches. What I'm doing here, I'm actually dragging the pencil rather than pushing it. It's being dragged. Put another tree here, a bit more foliage, and I can work quickly between the tip and the edge, and then just to give it a little bit of real life, we'll put a couple of people in there, and then a little soft line makes it look like there's some mountains at the back. Okay, that's how quickly you can work with pencil.